Hello, my fellow nerds, and welcome to the Nerd Empire. I hope you all are having a fantastic day today, and I hope you all will enjoy today's reaction video. With that being said, let's get right into it, shall we? Okay, this next one is by Amir Odom. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name correctly. I'm sorry if I have mispronounced it. I am not good at pronouncing. I can be good at pronouncing names, but sometimes I do mess up. And this one is called Why Teachers Are Burning Out and Quitting Mid-Year. So let's find out what's going on with these teachers.
I used to love teaching.
Did we all quit? They have been pushed to their absolute limit.
Teachers are burning out at a rate we've never seen before, and it's honestly so bad that they're quitting in the middle of the school year. You don't just wake up one day and decide, yep, I'm gonna walk away from my classroom. No, this happens months after nonstop behavior issues, mounting pressure, and just being told to handle it without any real support. Because a lot of millennials and Gen Z teachers are saying the same thing right now. They're overwhelmed, exhausted, and being pushed past their limits. So today, that's what I want to talk about in this video. I want to get into why teachers are quitting.
God, yeah. Kids. A lot of these millennial parents seem to, instead of actually raising their kids, they try and be friends with their kids. They try and give them what they want so they quiet down. They don't actually raise them as parents. They don't actually discipline their kids when they need to be disciplined. They just, shove an iPod in their face so they'll be quiet. And then try and appease them, try to negotiate with them, try to be their friend. And then they wonder why they're turning into such little fucking demons. It's like, no, you are a mom and a dad. You are not supposed to be your kid's friend. You're not supposed to be negotiating with them. You're not supposed to just throw an iPad at them and hopefully they'll just be distracted for the next couple hours. Like when I grew up, my mom let me, she let me play games. She let me go on the computer and stuff, but she also made me go outside and actually play with people. She actually made me do chores. She made me do my homework. She made sure I did stuff. She was not my friend. She was my mother. It was the same thing with my dad. My dad was not my friend. He was my father. Parents are not supposed to be friends of the children. They're not. And because these children are the way they are from the parents, they are turning into horrible little demons to these teachers. They're not disciplined. They're out of control. They're driving these teachers nuts.
Mid-year, how student behavior and admin response plays into this, and why this isn't just a teacher problem, it's a system problem. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe and let's dive right into these videos.
Did we all quit during the break? Because I came back to work today and there's some teachers gone. Students are asking if the teachers got fired. Of course, that's what a kid would say, is like, oh, did this teacher get fired?
Those poor students, can you imagine going back to school and your teacher's just gone? Like they've hit a breaking point that large, we're just like, yep, you know what? I'm out. And not just one but two teachers within the same school. These classrooms are already overpacked as it is in some of these districts. So now, like, I can't imagine what that's...
Yeah, and some of these schools have so little funding that a lot of these teachers have to spend their own money just to get the supplies they need so they can teach their class. These teachers barely make enough to support themselves already. And these schools won't do anything to, give them proper supplies so they can teach the kids.
Stress is like, even on the faculty end, like I get the teachers leave for a reason and we're going to get into that, but even just the logistical nightmare that is of having students go to their classroom of like 30, or even if it's like a middle school where you have a bunch of students going to that one class and that teacher's just gone for the rest of the year. That is actually insane that people are being pushed to their limits this much.
Let's talk about why teachers who are leaving in the middle of the school year are not evil people with ulterior motives who don't care about their students, but are actually people who do care about their students, but also care about their mental health and well-being.
I have seen those comments like, how could you in your right mind as a teacher leave mid-school year? At least finish out your job, at least stay there for the kids, do what you can. But on the flip side, if the teacher's mental health is decrepit, they're not teaching the students are horrible, They're getting no support from admin. It's at that point.
Yeah, it's like if the teacher's mental health is deteriorating to the point to such a low point, how are you as a school expecting the teacher to keep teaching at the same level and keep taking care of the kids and teaching the kids well enough when their mental health is so low and so horrible that they can barely take care of themselves? You can't expect a teacher who's breaking to keep teaching the kids properly when they themselves are not doing well. It's just not logically making any sense.
Yeah, you need a paycheck. Yeah, you're working, but like, if people can quit their regular job out of nowhere, or they put in their 2 weeks notice to say, you know what, I'm gone, then I guess so can teachers. They don't have to literally stay the entire time. I mean, contractually they probably have to, and they're breaking that contract, but I never thought about teachers quitting mid-school year. Like, I never thought about teachers quitting in general if it wasn't just like, unless it was like in the summertime, like I'm not coming back next school year. But in the middle of the school year, that is abrupt, and it clearly has to be more to it. Like,
You can tell, like, if the teachers are quitting in the middle of the year, you can tell that the system has... There is something severely wrong with the system. And there's something wrong with the kids, too. There's just... shit needs to be fixed. Because we need to find a way to be able to get these teachers to stay to where they believe it's a good idea to stay. They think it's worth staying. And some of these teachers want to stay because they love their kids. They love teaching. They want to stay, but they feel like it's not worth it because they're not getting any support whatsoever.
it's definitely a huge mental toll to it. Let's see what she has to say.
Like I said in my previous video, if a teacher is leaving mid-year, best believe they have been pushed to their absolute limit. I would say the majority of teachers would rather not leave middle of the year because of the type of people we are, because it is a vocation, it is a calling, we go into the profession for the students. But there is a point where we have to remember that teaching is just a job. We are not superheroes. We have our own family, our own life. We have our own mental and physical health to look after. We have our own children that we need to look after, and we have to have the energy to do that. So just because a teacher is leaving middle of the year, it does not mean they don't care about their students.
That's fair, but I guess pushback to that would be everybody who works, everybody in life has all those same problems. So I see that perspective of, okay, well, everybody has things that they're dealing with, but you have to do your job. On the flip side, everybody can find it frustrating when you go into a job for A, but you're not even doing A, you're doing B, C, D. That's probably the most frustrating part for these teachers, is that they do go into it for the passion, because they're not getting the pay, they're not getting the support, they're having to put in all their own money into their classroom to be creative. They're doing it because they actually love the career, they love the path that they're on. So when you go into a job saying, I love doing this, I love doing A, I want to do A, and they can't even do that because they're too busy repeating themselves, dealing with behavior issues, and have any support from the admin when they're constantly being taken away from what they originally were supposed to be there for, it does end up becoming no point to even be there in the first place.
Leave because they're done for whatever reason. Why are we wanting to keep them in the school? Why are we wanting to keep them in the classroom with students when they're done? A burnt out, tired, exhausted teacher does not benefit anyone, definitely not the students. They're doing everyone a favor by prioritizing their mental health and stepping away and making the choice for themselves, their family, their students, to step away and leave the profession, leave to go to another school, leave to take a break, whatever.
And that's fair too. It's like, if the teacher's burnt out, if they already don't want to be there, they're unhappy, why would you want that energy around the kid to begin with anyways? They're better off having a well, passionate, loving, supportive substitute teacher for the rest of the year than the actual teacher supposed to be there that hates being there, and that's just becoming a pit of just negativity, and they're not even...
Yeah, if I had a kid, I would rather not have the teacher there that didn't want to be there, that was in a horrible mood, that was being burnt out. I'd rather have them go away for a while and then come back, or just go away permanently. I'd rather have my kid being taught by somebody who actually is passionate about what they're doing, actually wants to be there, is happy to be there, you know, all that sort of stuff, rather than somebody who's just, you know, not like that.
Happy themselves. And be sure to subscribe, because I have another video that I talked about like a year or two ago, talking about Gen Z and Gen Alpha's behavior within schools and why they're driving people to quitting, with all the fighting the teachers, fighting other students, the behavior, can't read, can't write, can't do math. It's like home life is making it incredibly hard for teachers to actually do their job. And all these teachers evidently are becoming increasingly overwhelmed. And when you're overwhelmed with work, when you're getting burnt out, when you're just getting super stressed, that doesn't just stay at work, that follows you home too. And I've noticed that in my own life. When I am mentally exhausted, when I'm just drained, when I've been talking to this damn camera all day, even the basic things like grocery shopping or figuring out what I want to eat feels impossible. I want to eat better, I want to contribute to my 2026 goals, but my brain just won't let me do that. Sometimes it just doesn't have the bandwidth to plan out the meals, go to the grocery store, find everything, check out, come back. Like, it's too much. That's why I've been loving today's sponsor, Hungry Root, because they've been taking that mental load off my plate. Hungry Root works as a personal nutrition coach and a shopper all in one. I told them what I like, what I don't like, and my health goals, and they plan my groceries for me. Meals, snacks, everything. I'm personally trying to eat cleaner and get more protein, and what I love about that is I don't have to overthink it. Hungry Root fills my cart with things that actually fit my health goals, and it gets smarter every single week based on what I'm loving. And this isn't just a meal kit. They have over 50,000 recipes to choose from every single week, plus smoothies, quick lunches, snacks, and more. Like, even now I'm sitting here editing this video, and in the box where's these kosher dill pickles, like Sucker Punch chip cut packs, like little snacks, and they're fire while I'm editing. And everything is made from high quality ingredients with no junk and unnecessary additives. If your New Year goals are already feeling kind of hard to keep up with, Hungry Root makes it easier to actually stick with eating healthier past January. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, you can get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. Just click the link below or go to hungryroot.com and use code AmirOdom. That's 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life at hungryroot.com with code AmirOdom.
According to TikTok, there are no teachers left in the U.S. because everybody quit their job and no one returned back from Christmas break.
So crazy.
I've seen about 30 videos in 2 days of scrolling of teachers that were like, I'm not returning back to my teaching job, saying that the kids are horrible, the parents don't participate, the parents are not teaching these kids respect, the kids have no respect.
And off the bat, you can tell the parents don't give a damn with how these kids be acting in the streets, with all these teen takeovers, all these new policies that you need a chaperone. You can't just go to the movies, you can't just go to the theme parks, the water parks, malls. Everywhere requires a chaperone because these teens don't know how to act. There's no decorum.
Yeah, it's really horrible when you have such gremlins, for lack of a better word, at these schools. They're just so out of control because they've had no discipline, they've had no structure at home. These kids, these parents just expect these teachers to teach them everything, and the parents themselves don't have to teach their kids anything, which I find really fucking stupid. Most of the things kids learn, they learn from their parents. And these parents have to start teaching their kids most of the stuff they're going to need to know in life. And yet you have a lot of these parents who give less than a shit to teach their kid anything and expect the teachers to teach them everything.
There's no raising. It just isn't. Like, this new age is just weird, and it's not so much I'm older, I'm crapping on the younger generation. No, like, these businesses wouldn't be doing this if they didn't have a reason to. These businesses didn't do it for us. Yeah, I've acted rowdy. Yeah, I've been in middle school and high school playing like hide and seek in Walmart and stuff. That's a thing, but to this caliber, to this level, we haven't seen it before.
Administration and
Yeah, and when I was in school, it wasn't as horrible as a lot of the videos I've seen about kids in school nowadays. It is hundreds of times worse. Hello, Bug. How you doing? And it's just, these kids they're so fucking confrontational with the teachers. I don't get how these kids get this damn bad.
Administration being disrespectful, and this is a problem. and it's going to be a growing problem. Like, how many schools did like woke up the first day back from winter break and realized that teacher, opened up their emails and realized that teachers weren't there, and then had to split the classrooms. And like, now these classrooms are overcrowded. They were probably overcrowded before, because I'm seeing so many teachers that did not return from winter break. And I'm actually not mad at them, because I used to be a teacher. I used to be a substitute teacher, and the state of teaching is in shambles. I mean, these teachers are getting zero respect. The kids are verbally abusive. They are physically abusive. And no one's doing anything about it. People are not raising their children, so their kids get to school and think that they can disrespect anybody else because they can disrespect their parents at home. And now these teachers are quitting. They're quitting and finding other jobs. Some of them said, I don't even have a second opportunity. Like, I don't have a backup plan, but I'm not returning. Like, do you know how bad teaching has to be for teachers to quit their job?
My parents took me out of school to teach me to read because I got to the 7th grade without knowing how. Damn. Now that is a case of the system failing you, of the system failing the kids. For them to not teach you to read all the way up to 7th grade, that is a serious problem within the system. I mean, you should be learning to read in like kindergarten, 1st grade, or 2nd grade. That's just horrible. You get to 7th grade, you're still not knowing how to freaking read. That is a major failure in the school system.
Without a backup plan or another source of income. Like,
that's how bad it's gotten, where teachers are willing to quit without even having another job set in place. They're like, you know what, F it, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, it has gotten really, really, really bad when, just like they said, the teachers don't have another source of income. They don't have another job that they've set up or that they can fall back on. They don't have anything to fall back on. And they're willing to quit their job, even if it means they become homeless. You know it is bad when it gets to that point where they just say, fuck it, I'm quitting. I do not give a single fuck anymore. I mean, for any job, if it has gotten to that point, then something has gone wrong. Something needs to be seriously fixed.
And it does all boil back to home, because our society would be crazy if there was no school. Like, I'm all for homeschooling, but I understand not everybody can do that. People have work and have to work 2-3 jobs. Like, I get it. So I understand the need of a public school, but these public schools need help, and they need help from the parents. Like, these students just don't know how to act. And it'd be one thing if teachers were just complaining about the faculty and the lack of support from the administration, which that's always been a thing, and teachers have worked through it, or they've moved counties, they've gotten new jobs at different schools. That's always been a thing. But this rise of teachers quitting and leaving their jobs not purely, but like in large part due to the student behavior, that's insane. And it does concern me later down the road when it's like, are there no teachers? Like, is it just going to be very rare? It really, what it could boil down to, and I don't want it to get to this point, is a very large like wealth educational gap, where you have all the wealthy families. Everybody in private school is fine. They're fine and dandy. People have tutors. The public schools in the rich neighborhoods, those are fine. And then the people that homeschool their kids. But like everyone else, it's just going to be a lawless free-for-all, if anything, because there is almost like they're setting it up. And I say I don't really know who, really just, I guess, the parents and the lack of control that they have on their kids, but they're creating almost this world where like middle and low class people that are in public schools are not going to get an education. That's the weird part. I can see a world in 10, 15 years where no one wants to teach this. No one wants to teach this generation. No one wants to go into a classroom, go into a school and teach kids who can't be taught. And no teacher wants that. Again, it's one thing if they just have to deal with the work.
I think parents need to start coming to terms with the fact that they cannot and should not be friends with their kids. They need to be parents with their kids. They need to show their kids that they need structure. They need to show kids how to respect people, give them a set of morals. And they need to discipline their kids when the kids get out of hand. But parents are too afraid to discipline their kids because of how society is. And they're too afraid to not be their kids' friends because kids think that they can just go to like CPS or whatever and get their parents in trouble because their parents didn't give them something that they wanted. The system needs to be fixed. Schools need better funding, and teachers need to teach only the subject that they are hired for. Parents need to start being actual parents and not be their kids' friends. They need to stop giving them iPads just to keep them quiet. They need to kick them out of the house and tell them to go play outside every now and then, because kids need to learn how to play outside and have fucking touch grass. And they need to discipline their kids when the kids need to be disciplined. All this stuff needs to happen for shit to get better, because it has gotten so far out of hand that it is going to turn into that, I forget what the movie is called, but it's a movie where what's his name gets frozen for like so many years. He gets thawed out into the future. They're using Gatorade as water. Terry Crews plays the character that's the president. I forget. It's a movie with a fucked up stupid world. It's going to get to that point if shit doesn't change quick.
Side, the admin side, and that's one thing, but when you're running away from the actual population of our youth because there's no parenting, it's just these phones parenting the kids, it's this lack of respect, what do you end up with? Not to say there aren't bad students in the rich schools and the private schools.
Man jiggles. Hi, Storm. How's it going?
Or even held at home with your own parents if you're being homeschooled, but it is apparent that there is a parenting style, parenting difference between the wealthy public schools and the middle low income public schools, which is a given. But damn, like obviously these teachers are talking about it has gotten extremely worse with this rise of technology.
Districts can no longer bully teachers into submission anymore, and that's why they're leaving in droves. Let's talk about it. I think a lot of people think it's a trend. It's not a trend.
However, there were fewer options for teachers to leave back then. Yeah, the schools are letting kids, well, besides the fact that the governor of my state has already issued a state of emergency because we're about to get, oh, damn, that sucks. Yeah, the schools are too lax and too uncaring about kids who are getting in the faces and being physically abusive and verbally abusive with teachers. Schools cannot let kids keep doing that and getting away with it, because the teachers aren't allowed to do anything against it. Because if they do something against it, they get in trouble, they lose their jobs, they get in trouble with the law, so on and so forth. They have to start doing something, and it starts at home. It starts with the fucking parents, because a lot of these parents see their kid as a perfect angel, but don't see how fucked they are when they're not within their sight. So shit needs to change.
Back in the day, like even 20 years ago, if you threatened to leave teaching, you would get threatened. How districts would threaten you is they would threaten to take away your teaching license. They still try to do that, but I'll get into the now in a second. But they used to threaten your teaching license, and they used to say, well, especially if you quit mid-year, you're not going to get another teaching job in this county, in this state, or ever, because you will be ruined. And that used to work. That used to work. Now teachers are like, take the license, I'll get a job doing something else. That's a blessing for me. I don't want to teach anymore. Why would I care about my teaching license being taken away if I don't want to be a teacher anymore?
Yeah, it gets really bad when even they're starting to say, take my fucking license, I don't care. I started writing books for self-entertainment because I didn't like the direction of modern entertainment.
It's like leadership. This is people who like work above you. They would say, you're a teacher. No one will hire you. You have no work experience doing anything else. Most teachers that I know who teach, they have never worked another job. Maybe babysitting, or nannying, but other than that, they've never had another job usually. But on top of that, teachers are realizing like they used to be scared to quit. They used to be until like they saw their friends quitting and their friend making more money or having a better job. There's like this cult like teaching aspect of teaching where there's like if you leave, one, you're a bad person and you don't care about kids. Two, no one else is gonna hire you because I'm not gonna write your recommendation.
Well, they do. A lot of them do care about the kids, but the job itself has gotten so horrible for them, so mentally unwell for them, and so dangerous for them that they don't see the point in staying even for the kids. They don't see the point in keeping the license. I mean, they'll quit even if it means they lose their teaching license. That should have been a wake-up call for a lot of these places, but a lot of them just don't care, which is really bad.
And three, never had another job. Well, those are all untrue.
Yep. I really do think technology has been a blessing and a curse because now teachers feel more empowered.
Oh yeah, social media itself has been both a blessing and I think it's been more of a curse than a blessing, because nowadays people post anything and everything, and most of it gets taken so far out of context that people get in trouble for the dumbest of reasons.
And like, you know what? I do see other people quitting. I do see other teachers finding jobs and more administrative roles, and they're able to do things on their own. So F it, I'm gonna quit now, because I really didn't know that aspect of teachers being like kind of blackballed to stay within the county and not being pressured not to quit and being told, oh, you're gonna lose your license, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. Okay. F it. They don't care. There's other jobs out there. There's way more jobs for people to do, especially with the online world. There's so much more opportunity out there for people. And yeah, teaching is really more of a passion job. You have to love teaching and love to do it. And I think in large part they deserve more pay. But even that sentence alone, like, yes, they do think they deserve more pay, but the pay doesn't fix the children's behavior. To a certain point, something needs to happen within our culture, within our society, and how we're bringing these children up.
I think we need to bring back the concept of it takes a village, because that has just gone to the wayside. We need to bring that concept back, because it really does take a village
To begin with. But these teachers, you can't bully them into submission anymore. You can't tell them what they're gonna do and can't do. That really doesn't work for anybody in any industry, in any job anymore at all, and it won't.
I'm a former teacher and now parent, and I can see a splitting that's happening in society, and it has nothing to do with politics. I did another video regarding this, having to do with a splitting regarding technology and moderation versus not. This is something entirely different, but connected. The splitting is parents who teach their kids versus those that don't. Why are teachers leaving in droves? And many of them are homeschooling their kids. If you were just leaving, it's one thing, but leaving and pulling your kids is a whole nother part.
That's
Generally
huge.
speaking, here's what I saw. First of all, it is not cool to learn at all. It's not cool to be respectful to teachers or people in general. Being a victim is viewed as a good thing. And from a general...
Oh, God. Yeah, this whole victim mentality thing, I think, has fucked up a large part of society, because everyone seems to think that they'll get, good boy or good girl points for being a victim. They believe they'll get more out of being a victim than actually being a good person. So this victimhood mentality, I think, has done more damage to society than anything it could ever do.
sense. We have dumbed down.
I didn't even think about that aspect. Like, yeah, being a victim is cool now. And what I feel like what I'm getting from that when I hear...
I'm sorry, but if I think being a victim is fucking retarded. It is.
Hear that is, I'm black and the white people are after me. I'm black in America. It's so hard. Boom, there's some victim oppression points. Oh, I'm a part of the LGBTQ community and my rights are being stripped away. Boom, there's oppression points. Or, oh, I go by they, them now. And, oh, people look at me as weird and not normal. And, oh my gosh. It's like viewed as a hype point to be a victim of something. To be combative. It's like it gives people purpose. It seems like it gives people like that yearning for community, because there is community in victimhood. There's community within Black Lives Matter, within like LGBTQ community. There's community in feeling attacked and oppressed and kind of creating a clique, creating a group out of it. I'm like, oh, you're going through this too. I'm going through it as well. Let's be friends. Trauma bonding. There's the word I'm looking for. There's community and trauma bonding, and
People bonding over their fucking trauma. I think I don't necessarily see a problem, but if you're using your trauma as a way to get victimhood points, stupid shit like that, I think you need to reevaluate your life, because you're just being fucking stupid at that point. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? These same people are using the way they act. They're using their trauma as an excuse, rather than taking accountability and responsibility for their own stupidity.
that's definitely been something we've seen on the rise.
We're eliminating gifted classes, and just the class structure itself has changed. So what an honor student looks like today is not what it looked like 20 years ago. And the bottom,
Wow.
which used to be a baseline of
I wonder if I could find it. I have a TikTok video saved or liked that basically shows how much it is dumbed down. And when I first saw it, I was utterly flabbergasted by it, because I was like, have we really become this fucking stupid? Let's see, where is it? I have to wait for this stuff to load because it's loading so fucking slow. Where is it? I've liked so many damn videos. I know I have it. Load faster, damn it. Where are you? God, I gotta scroll down so far because it's a video I liked a long time ago. Here it is. Here we go.
Y'all telling me y'all not scared about the future. We are literally watching.
Say no more. We're cooked. A 64 is a... I beg your pardon?
We are.
All right, let's talk about this. Now, you can see how we have dumbed down our system. So, when I was in school, 0 to 24%. Okay, an F was a 0 to 50%. 51 to 60% was a D. 61 to 70. Or no, I think it was 0 to 59%. God, I can't fucking remember. Okay, yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is the standard 10-point scale that we had. All right. 0 to 59% was an F. 60 to 69 was a D. 70 to 79 was a C. 80 to 89 was a B. And 90 to 100 was an A. We have completely dumbed down the public school grading system. And one of the reasons that made this happen was the No Child Left Behind. And schools wanted to look good, so a lot of the schools dumbed down their system so they look good to investors and other people. And it's made things worse. The grading scale should never change. It should have never changed at all. Because what, this or the 10-point system I said that was not this? Because here. This right here. This right here. This was the this was the common grading scales around 2000. This was the 10-point system that I always had to deal with. This one is the 7-point system, which, you know, it says common in districts and universities. And there's apparently Florida statewide one from 99 to 2000. But yeah, this is the common one that you know, I was used to. This up here is something that should have never happened. We are dumbing America down. This is just, it's retarded. It's completely retarded. We as a society are going downhill fast. And the brakes to the vehicle we're on that's bringing us downhill have been cut. So, yeah. At this point, I kind of think we're screwed. It's really horrible. Really horrible.
Had some semblance of knowledge and intellect is now unable to read, unable to write, unable to think. And the school systems are passing these kids along.
Yeah. Critical thinking seems to be going the way of the dinosaurs. Nobody has any critical thinking skills anymore.
Regardless of that. Now, what teachers
That's
see...
bad. And let me know in the comments below, is failing still a thing? Because I know it can be dependent on county and school.
Oh, I think failing is starting to fail because they want to make sure everyone passes. They want to make sure nobody gets their feelings hurt. And some stupid shit like that. When These people need to learn about failure. These people need to learn that you can't be coddled through everything. Because once they get into the real world, they're going to learn real fucking quick that the real world does not give a singular fucking shit about your feelings. It just doesn't. These kids need to learn about failing. They need to fail so they can learn from their failures and they can get better. But these schools are so afraid to fail these kids because they're afraid that they'll get in trouble or they'll get yelled at or they'll lose their job or they'll lose funding or some other stupid fucking shit. These kids need to fail. They need to learn that failing is not a bad thing.
All that. So like, let me know, is like failing a student or like leaving a student behind, is that a thing? Because that was for me in the past, like I don't want to say dumb, but like the people that couldn't make it, they were held back. Is holding kids back, is that still a thing, or are we just passing people?
I honestly don't think it's a thing anymore. I don't think it is.
Just to be nice and not offend anybody. Let me know in the comments below.
Dumbing down of society, the bringing everyone down. And so you might be the parent who's saying like, but I teach my kid, so they're going to be okay. Are they? Because if the school is now moving everything downward towards the bottom and having to deal with these bottom, is your kid being challenged, being pushed? Because what I've seen is that it now no longer is good to push through hard. If a kid complains and they're like, no, this is too hard, we are very quick to be like, all right, well, here's a way of making it easier.
That's not how we grow. I didn't even think about that. If we're increasingly making it easier or like lowering the baseline so that the really kids who like can't read, can't write, any of that, they're not getting any help at home or nothing. The kids at the top aren't being challenged, they aren't being pushed. And again, this looks different in wealthier neighborhoods. There are still some bad schools in wealthy neighborhoods, but there is a huge discrepancy in that. Even for me personally, where my high school, I knew multiple people who made a 9, 10, 11, 12 on the ACT. Multiple. Whereas for my friends in richer areas, they're like, that's unheard of. Like, it was like a sport. It was competitive to get above a 30. So that's just anecdotal, obviously, but that's what I've seen in, Middle Tennessee area. But that is a valid point, and that even for myself and my kid, I'll be homeschooling. I would way prefer to homeschool my child and just spend time like going on our own.
Considering how there are some teachers that are bringing their retarded ass political views into their teaching, I believe I would probably homeschool my kids too, because I want them to actually learn stuff that is prevalent to how they can go throughout life, how they can live, rather than some teacher teaching them how they think and what their political views are, some stupid shit like that.
Field trips, like going to different cities, like exploring the town, going to different classes, they're going to like little homeschooling groups. That seems way worth it, honestly, because I've always heard growing up that the homeschool kids are the weird ones. I'm sorry, these public school kids, I'm looking at them like, oh, y'all are crazy. And all my friends who have homeschooled their kids, they're so smart, so awesome, so independent, and it's like, it's a clear difference.
There could be teachers who know this, but it doesn't help that they're not getting the support to push the upper level kids up higher. And because they're so busy with dealing with the bottom that they can't deal with the top. So then there's this split, and the top ones are not being challenged or pushed as much as they should be. And the bottoms are the ones being catered to, but it's so hard to move them anywhere with absolutely zero support from home. And that's what it all comes down to. The parents that spend time at home teaching their kid, pushing their kid, challenging their kid so that they excel and keep moving upward and learning how to deal with failure.
There's too many parents providing for their kid and not parenting their kid, which on one end, I get it. The economy's different. The world's different. You may be more stressed. You may be like, oh my gosh, like this is so hard. I want to provide, work. They have school clothes, they have the shoes, they have all the things. But that's cap. It's free to provide knowledge and raise a kid. That's not even an excuse. Yeah, no. That doesn't work. You can spend at least an hour a day with your child and raising it up to be a great kid. That's free. So no, has nothing to do with the economy. It could. Someone can blame it, I guess, with the working 2 jobs thing. But if you're not working 2 jobs and say your kid comes home and then just goes straight to the Xbox, that's a problem.
You do so much more in life just in general than the ones who are continued to be like, it's okay. It's okay to be offended. It's okay that you can't read. It's okay that you can't do that. We're just going to push you along. We're just going to push you along. It's fine. And
That's
along
so bad.
with this, it's a total lack of emotional intelligence, which is why a kid tries something, fails, and then it's, I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I'll never know this. Fixed mindset, closed mindset, and not having the mental capacity to understand that it's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes, and challenging things make you grow.
Yeah, parents need to teach their kids that it's fine to fail. You learn more from your failures than you do your success. I don't think you can really grow as a person if you've never failed, because you have to fail at something to learn. Now, failing at everything, it's only bad. Failing is only bad if you never learn. As long as you learn from your failures and learn not to repeat the same mistakes, then you can do better, you can grow as a person, and you can eventually succeed. We have to teach our kids that failing is not a bad thing. In a vast majority of the cases. You know, there are some things that it is really bad to fail at, but in the majority of life, failing is not a bad thing, and you need to learn from your failures. And if you learn from your failures and learn to improve, then you can do better in life. There was a study done with 500 kids prior to school. All 500 tested genius. As they progressed, then by high school, only 5 tested as genius. Damn. That's a hell of a drop. Damn.
Okay, love this guy so far. Love him. That's the point I was trying to make when it goes back to you really can't teach a class that can't be taught. When these kids have these closed mindsets, like at a core level, like there's been no parenting, no motivation, no inspiration, no drive. How the hell are you supposed to push a kid along? You may get 1 or 2. When the whole class collectively doesn't believe in themselves, they think they're dumb, they're stupid, I'm never gonna get it, none of this matters. What are you supposed to do with that? I can't even imagine.
But the thing is, whether the teacher leaves or doesn't leave, their kids are going to have a leg up because teachers realize that this is what's happening in schools and know that they have to challenge their kid more at home because it's not really going to be happening at school. And we're honestly seeing the beginning stages of the movie Idiocracy, where...
That's the movie I was thinking of. If we don't fix the shit that's going on now, for how downhill it's going, and especially the way the grading system is, if we keep going downhill like this, our world is going to turn into idiocracy.
People get into society, they're kids that are going to become adults, where they can't read, they can't write, and they're so easily manipulated because they're always just flowing with the cool thing, and they're like, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Okay, I guess everyone else is doing this, so I'll just do it. There's absolutely no critical thinking.
You see that in a lot of the protests that are going on. They just hop on the bandwagon. They don't critically think for themselves. They don't question anything. They don't do any of the research. They just follow the crowd like a bunch of sheep. That's how a lot of the protests are going on now. They're just a bunch of sheep following the herd. Because they're so fucking brainwashed. We are seeing signs of idiocracy becoming reality. And people should be damn terrified of that. And yet people aren't. We just see it continuing.
And that's how you end up with, wait, Gatorade is better because it has electrolytes. Come on, bruh. You should know that.
And it's crazy because it's already happening. With like all the mass protests and like the LGBTQ community and all the riots and just this
I didn't pre-watch this.
mass psychosis of people going with the crowd and doing whatever's hot and new and whatever I should say to like appease everybody. That's already happening. The amount of people that don't have media literacy, the amount of people that see something online and are immediately triggered, they're immediately emotional. The guy brought up great points and honestly pushed me even more to want to homeschool my future children, because I didn't even think that they're putting all their attention and focus on the kids who aren't.
Parents also need to teach their kids to question things, because you can't just immediately believe the first thing you read or the first thing you see. You should question almost everything, because there are a lot of things out there that are fucking cherry picked that really need to be questioned.
Getting it, and they aren't challenging the kids. The kid at the top just becomes lower because they aren't being pushed and they aren't being challenged. At that, it's already hard enough to recognize as someone at that level that you should be pushed even more. So what do you do with those kids that need the extra push, need the extra drive, and they're really smart and talented, and they aren't getting any attention? That opens up a lot. That was a really enlightening video and really cool perspective to hear from, because I didn't even realize that a lot of teachers are not only leaving their jobs, but pulling their kids out and just homeschooling them, because they see how bad the public school system has become.
300,000 teachers quit last year. I got their anonymous confessions. What they revealed.
That's crazy.
Here's the teacher confessions. I spend 6 hours on paperwork and 2 hours actually teaching. I'm not allowed to fail students who haven't learned anything. The curriculum is designed by people who have never actually taught. I'd homeschool my own kids if I could afford to quit. We're babysitters with degrees, not educators.
Oh God, yeah. There's another thing with how the system has gotten and everything. They seem to be more of glorified babysitters than educators. And that's a horrible thing, because that's how a lot of parents are seeing these teachers. They're seeing them as a glorified babysitter that they don't need to pay on an hourly basis.
Parents know their kids better than I ever will. The system isn't broken.
Babysitters
But speaking up
with
means
degrees.
losing my job.
Crazy.
Even the people inside the system.
You can't fire teachers for speaking up. You can't fire teachers for failing the students, because a lot of these teachers need to speak up, and a lot of these teachers need to fail a lot of these fucking kids, because a lot of these fucking kids are goddamn stupid, because the system is also failing them, and they're failing the teachers, and the teachers can't teach them right. And the parents are doing a horrible job raising their fucking kids.
Know it's failing your children.
If you're a teacher, let me know in the comments below if you heard those things too, because those are some valid confessions from teachers who have quit. Like the babysitter with degree, doing too much paperwork, no support. Pretty much all the things that teachers have been saying throughout this video, but that's a lot of teachers who've quit. Like a lot.
I felt like I was constantly redirecting and trying to recorrect these behaviors more than I was teaching. And I'm not even kidding, trying to get them to sit still for more than 5 seconds was a challenge. It would take me probably 5 minutes, maybe more, just to get through one problem on one lesson.
That's so bad. Like, I even think about just a small minor thing of getting the children's attention, getting them to stop and getting them to focus on one thing and then moving past it and not being stuck on it. Because obviously they're children. They're rambunctious. I remember back when I was a kid, we had I don't remember them, but like the teacher everybody claps, or they do a little jingle together, like to get everybody's attention. Obviously, it's always been a thing. They're children, you're not gonna have everybody's attention. But when you have these groups of teachers saying, hey, we're spending more time trying to move on, spending more time trying to help this one student who's not getting it, spending more time trying to get behaviors in line to teach, to where the point where we get to teaching, it just takes so damn long because no one's getting it, because no one's learning.
But I felt like I was always behind, because I felt like for where my class was, the modules just, it just didn't work. Also, I felt like
I feel like a lot of the school system they're like math, history, You know, those sort of things are, I think, are important to learn. But with the rest of the stuff, it's like they're trying to teach them more on memory retention rather than actual skills and things they need to know in everyday life and just in life in general. It's like they care more about memory retention than any of those things. Memory retention and test scores. We need to start, we need to teach math, we need to teach history, we need to teach English. English being, you know, grammar, sentence structure, you know, stuff like that. So they actually, and, you know, reading, writing, arithmetic, you know, stuff like that. But we also need to teach things that are necessary for everyday life, knowledge people need to know so they know how to take care of themselves. They know how to do things that they need to know when they're adults. But most schools don't teach this stuff. I don't know why, but they just don't, which they need to.
Every day was like the first day of school all over again. Since the first day of school, I constantly had to reinstill the expectations, routines, and procedures as if it was the first day of school. I had to yell in order for my class to even hear me. I even got one of those, like those headsets with the microphone, and I still had to raise my voice.
Yeah, home economics. That's another one. Yeah. Like, yeah, home ec needs to come back into schools.
While it was amplified because my class was just that loud.
Yeah, they need to teach careers. They need to teach the concept of money. They need to teach taxes. They need to teach home ec. They need to teach civic. You know, well, civics is already a thing they're teaching. But they need to teach all these sort of things as a mandatory thing. And a lot of schools don't even have them. I think every single school needs these things to be taught.
That's bad. And it's like that what that guy was saying in that other video, in that all this low-key does go back down to the parenting. There's only so much a teacher can do if their entire class of, I don't know, 15 to 30 kids, which is a lot, obviously you just doubled it, but 15 to 30 kids who just are rambunctious and are not getting it. And I never thought about that either. Each day is like the first day of school where you're having to reiterate the expectations and the rules and what to do, what not to do, how to act, how not to act. If you're constantly having to do that, I would have quit in a heartbeat. Because on one end, at first, in the beginning of this video, I'm like, you know, it is kind of messed up that these teachers are quitting mid-year. And I get the mental health aspect. I get you got to take care of yourself. But still, I thought it was like a little wrong. At least try to like thug it out to the end. If 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, I'm dealing with these kids that don't want to be there, not even, obviously kids don't like school, but like zero respect, zero tolerance, zero nothing, then there's obviously no point in me being there. I can't be Captain Save-A-Ho and fix it all. I can't. So why am I here? Now I get it.
That's funny. I can't be Captain Save-A-Ho.
Y'all leave. Leave. Now I see it. Now I see the vision completely.
I guess the point of this is I used to love teaching. I used to love teaching. I used to be excited to get here every day, and now I'm sitting in my car crying before work.
This girl boo-hooing. I cannot imagine boo-hooing before my job. It has to be 7:30 in the morning, 6. It's raining, and she is the boo-hoo crying in the car because these students are crazy and administration is not helping and the parents are not helping. You got teachers, you quit in mid-year. You got teachers talking about how they're getting no support from administration. Teachers quitting their school, going to homeschool, and now teachers crying in the car before work because of how hard it has become. This is sad. It's extremely excessive that it's gotten to this point and it's gotten this bad. And of course, if you are a teacher, let me know your comments below. What do you think about all this? Was anything right, wrong? I'd love to hear your perspective, because as we go through so many teachers in this video, it's apparent something needs to be addressed, and it's apparent that parenting needs to come back. Parents need to pay attention to what their children are learning, how they're learning, what they need to address, and raise up just a solid, well-standing citizen. And be sure to subscribe, because this video did inspire me to make another one now towards the end.
Parents need to stop being their children's friend, their buddy. They need to stop giving their kids iPads to distract them. They need to stop coddling them. You know, they need to stop doing all that. You need to raise your kid as a parent. You need to instill your kid with discipline, with structure, with respect, with morals, with a conscience. And you need to kick them outside a few times a week. They need to actually go outside, touch grass, and actually play. You know, get their knees scraped up a couple of times, get some bumps and bruises, stuff like that. You kick them outside a few times. You need to do all that. They need to actually be raised. So,
and as I'm thinking about the parenting and other behavior issue that has been pointed out by these teachers, is this another video that I'm going to do is why Gen Alpha and Gen Z behavior issues are rising. And I think a lot of this has to do, again, with the parenting, technology, and so much. So we'll get into that in another video. But I had to go through and just hear from some teachers on why they're quitting mid-year, because I saw this trending and I saw this happen. I'm like, what is going on to the point where you're willing to leave your job mid-year? What is going on to the point where you're quitting your job with no backup plan, no other job? Like, how bad has it become? And we've gone through this video. We've seen these students don't know how to act. And not just that, but yeah, the admin is a problem too. But it all comes down to the parenting. It all comes down to the parenting style and the lack thereof parenting. So with that being said, like I said before, subscribe to make sure that you catch the next video. And if you haven't seen my other generational videos, I have an entire playlist that goes through why Gen Z and Alpha are making teachers quit, family trauma, other millennial and Gen Z differences. Like, there's so many different generational videos that I've done that I absolutely love this topic so much. Talking to you guys in the comments, it's great. But aside from this video, talking one-on-one to you, or one-on-two if you're like with friends, you're with a couple, you're with your significant other, I don't know, it don't matter. I'm talking to you. Whatever you're going through right now, you're gonna go through it. It's called going through it for a reason. You're not stuck there, you will survive. So I know this year has been crazy so far, and it may have started off rocky for you. I don't know, but just know you're quite literally gonna be okay. It sucks right now. I don't know what the hell you got going on in your life, all the family drama, health drama, friend drama, work drama. There's so many things that can happen in your life, but one thing is for certain, and it's that nothing's coming your way that you aren't built for. You actually are strong enough to go through this. So keep your head up and know that it's a season will pass. So shit, with that being said, I appreciate your time so much, watching these videos, since spending time with me, going through these different topics, hearing different perspectives. It's a lot of time, and it's so much fun to have you here. I'm thankful for the support. I'm thankful to see this channel grow. We're on our road to 1 million this year. I'm hoping to hit 1 million by the end of 2026. So that's even a crazy ass sentence to say out loud. But if you want to help me there, let's go. Be sure to subscribe. And as always, I will catch you in the next video. Deuces.
all right. That was that one. But yeah, I feel bad for a lot of teachers because they're not getting the support they need in order to actually teach. Well, that is the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give a like and subscribe. I post videos 3 to 5 days a week here. I also post videos over on my other channel for gaming as well. So please make sure to give that a look-see. See if you enjoy that as well. I also stream anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week as well. Links to all my social medias will be on my YouTube page. And with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.